Hello. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes now about the idea of genre in literature. As a term of criticism, genre basically means a kind or classification of literature. We classify works of literature in various ways, and we call the categories into which we place the literature we read genres. We can apply this concept on various levels. For example, we break literature basically down into the major categories of prose, poetry, and plays, which we distinguish from each other by their form. More specifically, and on a level of finer detail, we distinguish prose works into novels, novellas, and short stories using length as a factor. Novels are longer than novellas, which are longer than short stories, so we divide prose works according to their length. We also separate plays into comedies or tragedies based on their content, and we do a similar thing for poems. So, why do we do this? What do we gain from this classification of kinds of literature? Well, as you might have noticed, classification by form helps us develop the right expectations for a work we read. We pay attention to things we read in prose that we pay less attention to when we read poetry. We read different genres in different ways. Thus, consideration of genre helps us get the most we can out of any particular literary work because we can read it in the way that it expects to be read, in the way that its writer really invites us to read it. We can also enhance our experience as readers by considering what genre of content a work might belong to. For example, we can usually understand a play more accurately if we know whether to think of it as a tragedy or a comedy, if we know whether we're supposed to laugh at the misfortunes of its hero or to sympathize with its hero through these misfortunes. It makes a difference in our understanding of what the play wants to tell us. As do different forms of literature, these different kinds of content inspire different expectations. We can expect to understand a comedy in a different way than we can expect to learn from a tragedy. Thus, we can miss a lot of meaning if we mistake one genre for another genre. We can get ourselves confused as to what the author wants us to understand. Happily, we can usually detect the form of a work pretty easily. Poems, for instance, generally have lines that don't go all the way to the right margin of a page, so we can, in most cases, identify a poem by looking at it. However, we most profitably think about the genre of a work's content when we reread the work. When we take a second look at a work, we can look more closely at how the work fulfills or refuses to fulfill its generic expectations. We can get a lot of meaning from a work by thinking about its relationship with its genre, how it conforms or refuses to conform to the rules that a genre implies or the expectations that we have for that genre as readers. So, I hope what you've seen in this lecture will help you keep thinking about genre as you keep reading literature. The next time you're in a bookstore, physical or virtual, you might take a look around and notice all the genres you see. Notice that within the prose category of fiction, you can find genres such as science fiction, or thriller, or mystery, or romance. These are all different kinds of literature that bring with them different expectations of how they should be read. And so we see that literature presents itself in a multitude of ways for us to enjoy and experience. As always, thank you for your time and attention.